Hey, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to Tech Conversations. I am your host Guillermo. It is April 15th. Let me know in the comment section below how you guys are doing today. As you can see, it is a red day for me, down $480 today, or about 0.5% so far. So we'll see what the rest of the day brings us. Just a reminder, we will be doing a giveaway once we reach 100,000 subscribers. If you'd like to enter that giveaway, all you need to do is hit the like button down below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and let me know in the comment section below what your favorite stock in the stock market is right now. Now in today's video, I want to answer a very important question that I've been receiving a lot recently. How do we close an options trade? So I'll show you how to close a trade, as well as why we would want to close out a trade before expiration. Keep in mind, this concept is going to be the same for any type of trade, whether it's a Strangle, a Straddle, an Iron Condor, Iron Butterfly, concept will be the same. Now let's get into this video, guys. So let's first go over to PLTR, Palantir Technologies. Let me just quickly explain why you'd want to close out a trade before expiration. So first of all, guys, my personal preference, I don't trust Robinhood closing out my trades for me. You can let your trades expire. Robinhood will handle closing them for you, but I just personally don't trust Robinhood. So no matter what, I always manually close out of my trades, even if it's on the expiration date. Now let's take a look at a different example. Let's say you've entered a trade. For example, here's a trade where I sold a call on Palantir. As you can see, I am up 79% on this trade. $64 is my profit so far. Well, let's say you just want to collect your profit. You don't want to get too greedy. Or let's say that the expiration date is still 2-3 days away and you're worried that the stock might go against you, might go against your trade. You don't want to lose out on money. So you just want to close out the trade at that point in time. That's an example of when you want to close out before the expiration date, right? You just want to take your profits, be happy. Another scenario is if you're selling options on a stock that has a dividend and the ex-dividend date falls on that week. Remember, there's risk of early assignment anytime that happens. So if you're selling options, you may want to close out on the day before the ex-dividend date so that you avoid early assignment and having to deal with all of that. So these are some examples where you would want to close out your trade before the expiration date. Now, with that being said, let's actually take a look at how you would do it. And keep in mind, this is something that you should know before you enter your very first trade. You'd be surprised how many people ask me, hey, how do I close out of this trade when they've already entered that trade? That is something you should know prior to entering your first trade. So let's take a look here at how we can close out an options trade. So I'm going to go over here to AT&T. I opened up an Iron Butterfly on AT&T yesterday just for this video, guys. If I show you guys down here, I did sell a put, 29.50, sold a call, 29.50, bought a call at the 30 strike, bought a put at the 29 strike, right? So my hope was that AT&T would be around 29.50 tomorrow because that's when this expires. But I'm just going to show you guys how you would close out of that here today. Even though I'm flat, I haven't made any money, I haven't lost any money, but that's completely fine. Because again, the whole point here is to show you guys how to close out of this trade. Now, yes, this is an Iron Butterfly that we're going to be closing out of. But again, the concept is going to be the same for any type of trade, whether it's the Strangle, the Straddle, Iron Condor spreads. It's going to be the same exact concept. Now, what's cool here is if you're using your desktop on Robinhood, they actually have this little widget here that can actually just handle everything for you. If we want to close out of this 4-option strategy, you can literally just enter the amount of trades you want to close. Robinhood will handle that for you. Or if you want to open another one, you can do that too. But I'm not going to use this widget because not everyone has access to it, and I'd rather show you guys how we can actually do this manually by ourselves. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the options here, and we're going to close out of this Iron Butterfly. So again, remember, we sold a call at 29.50, we sold a put 29.50, we bought a call at 30, we bought a put at 29 strike. All of them are expiring on April 16th. So what we want to do now is we're going to want to enter this exact same trade, meaning that all the options that were type puts, they're still going to be type puts. The ones that were type calls, they're going to be type calls. They're going to have the same expiration. They're all going to have the same strike. The only thing that's going to change now is if you bought the option, now you're going to want to sell that option. If you sold the option, now we're going to want to buy that option. Okay. And the other important thing I want you guys to note here, if this is a multi-leg trade, if this is a trade involving more than one contract, you're going to want to do all of this as one single transaction. I've seen people before try to close out of their trade one option at a time. Sometimes this works, sometimes this can be pretty dangerous. And I'll kind of go through an example here after I show you guys how to close this trade. But again, we're going to want to do this all as one single transaction if it's a multi-leg trade. So let me show you guys what we're going to do here. So let's start with the calls. Okay, so we're gonna enter the same exact trade here, same type, which is gonna be calls here, same expiration, so it's gonna be April 16th, and the same strike price for these options. But now instead of buying it, I'm gonna sell it. Instead of selling it, I'm gonna buy it. So let's start with the call that we bought. So remember, we bought this call right here at the 30 strike. Okay, and again expiring on April 16th. So we're going to get that exact same contract, same type call, same expiration date April 16th, same strike 30, but now instead of buying that, because that's what we originally did, we're going to sell that contract. So we're going to go over to sell, and we're going to sell that contract. Now, after that, remember, for the Iron Butterfly, we also sold a call at the 29.50 strike expiring April 16th. So now instead of selling this call expiring on April 16th at the 29.50 strike, I'm going to buy that exact same call. So call, same expiration April 16th, 29.50, but instead of selling it this time, I'm going to buy it. So those are the calls. Now we're going to move over to the puts. So when it comes to the puts, for our original Iron Butterfly, we sold the put at 29.50, and then we bought the put at 29. So let's first start off with the 29.50. So remember, we sold this put here, 29.50, expiring April 16th. So now instead of selling that put, we're going to buy that exact same put. So we're going to buy, it's going to still be a put, same expiration, same strike. So we're going to go ahead and buy that one. And then remember, we bought a put at the 29 strike. Now instead of buying that, we're going to sell it. Again, it's going to be same put, same April 16 expiration date, same strike, 29. We're going to click there. So as you can see, it's going to be $28 now for contracts. I'm going to go here. So you can see now, remember when I opened the Iron Butterfly, I received a credit. Now I'm going to have to pay. That makes sense, right? You received money first. Now you're going to have to pay to close this trade. And remember, you also put up some collateral when you opened up the Iron Butterfly. Now they're going to release that collateral that you put up. So I'm going to be paying about $28. And I can kind of look down here in this order summary to make sure this makes sense. And it does, right? Because this is all the same as our original transaction. But now, instead of buying this option, we're selling it. Instead of selling these two options, we're buying them. And instead of buying this option, we're selling it. That makes sense. That's how we're going to close out of this trade. So now what I would do is I would submit this here. And it's going to go. And it's going to say it's going to cost you about $28 or so. It's going to release $50 of collateral. Now, this is something that a lot of people also ask me about. Why isn't it being filled? Well, what you need to do here is you need to replace your order, and you're going to want to mess around with the limit price. So you may have to go up a little bit more. So I'm going to try 29. I'll submit that, and let's see if it takes $29. So placed $29, release collateral 50. Again, it doesn't seem to want to take $29. So again, you may have to go up a little bit more, or you may have to just wait if you want as well. Hopefully it gets filled. I'm just going to go up a little bit more so that this gets filled here. So I'm going to try 30. I'm going to go ahead and place this now. So it's going to cost me $30 now. And we'll see. As you can see, it did get filled. And it actually only cost me $28. So as you can see, if it's not getting filled, you may have to increase your price a little bit until it does get filled. And even though I said 30, it only cost me $28 now to close it. So I didn't lose any money. I didn't make any money. But again, the important part here is that I showed you guys how to close out of your trade. So this is for the Iron Butterfly. But again, the concept is the same. You enter the same exact trade, but instead of buying the option, if you bought it, you're now going to sell it. Instead of selling the option, if you sold it, you're going to buy it. So that's how you close out of a trade. And so the last thing I want to show you guys here very quickly, like I mentioned, is you want to do this all as one single transaction because things can go wrong. And I've seen things go wrong. It's very rare, but here's kind of an example of what could go wrong. Let's say on Palantir, let's say I had opened up a call credit spread. Remember, that's where you sell a call, and then you buy a call at a strike price higher than the call that you sold. So let's say you entered a call credit spread. And let's say instead of closing out of this trade as one single transaction, you tried closing each contract at at a time rather than doing them both at the same time. The problem I've seen happen before is people will go ahead and close the call that they bought, right? So you would close out of this by selling it, but then they still have the call that they sold. And then let's say Palantir shoots up. It's going to be really dangerous now, because if all of a sudden Palantir moves up 20-30%, which could potentially happen, now you're going to potentially have to sell 100 shares of Palantir at $24.50 because you sold this call, and you don't have the call that you bought anymore to act as protection anymore because you closed out of that first, right? So as you can see, it can be very dangerous in those types of situations. And again, they are rare, but they do happen. Okay, so be very careful with that. That is why you would want to close this all out as one single transaction if it is a multi-leg trade. So anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Check out the Discord, link to it in the description below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys next time.